Hello friends, it's Malik Makes here with another amazing, wonderful, glorious vlog. Today I'm going to be talking about a time where I decided to do me rather than the alternative. We all have a friend of a friend, right? Well, I had a friend of a friend once, and that friend of a friend decided that they didn't want to be my friend because I was too much me. What I mean by that is I was unwilling to put my values and my beliefs aside to incorporate his own beliefs and values. And that's the ending of the story. Spoiler alert. Let's go back to the beginning of the story, which starts with me and hip hop. My first love, my wife, my child, my God, all that good stuff. Hip hop has been my #1 source of healing for the last 6 years, before I even knew what healing meant. That being said, this is not only my passion and my love, but this is also my spiritual practice. Hip hop isn't just something that I do, it's my religion. With that understanding of hip hop and the role that it plays in my life, I feel confident that in this space, I can do my best work both inside and out. So I've never really felt the need to incorporate other things into my process of healing and unpacking and transmuting. I know there's many different methods, there's many different belief systems, there's many different tactics to unpack trauma and to rewrite programming. I'm well aware of this. Now flash forward into the future and also the not so distant past of the present, where I met a friend of a friend. Great Scott. Now this friend of a friend seemed really cool, super kind, always wanting to hang out and have really deep conversations and just explore thought and meaning and creativity, ironically. Let's give this friend a name. Let's call him Dan. Dan was feeling some type of way about the way that I was carrying myself. There came a time in our friend of a friendship where Dan observed something within me that wasn't sitting right with him, which is, hey, that's totally fair and appreciated and acknowledged. I will never be a perfect being. No one will. I know I got a lot of work to do, just like everybody else. And to me, a lot of that work is writing my verses, making my beats, singing my songs, rapping my songs. That is how I unpack what I'm going through, who I am becoming from day to day. This is my regular practice. So when Dan observed this thing within me, he felt like he needed to express that, which I appreciate. But Dan says to me, "You got some shit that's up with you." And that's not exactly what he said, but that's what he said. He said, "You got some shit that's up with you, and I think I know a way to get rid of that shit." I tense up because I already know that I know how to deal with the shit that is up with me. So what is this person gonna tell me that is going to give me anything that I don't already have in my own practice? Good old Dan, friend of a friend, tells me I have this spiritual practice that I do where I tap on my forehead and it makes things go away.
Just tap 5 to 7 times and say, "This stress."
Now I'm gruesomely abbreviating this entire meaningful, amazing practice for the sake of my own story. But the fact of the matter is, this is something that I have no interest in applying to my life. I understand it. I respect it. I see the positives in it. I see the payoff and the takeaway. But I have my thing, so I'm not looking for anyone else's thing to help me. We talked for a little bit, and throughout the whole conversation, it was just made very apparent that in order for him to want to continue being my friend, I had to do this practice that he does. I have so many friends, not just friends of friends, but friends like homies, brothers, sisters, cousins, all that. They don't do my spiritual practice, but it's not my place to tell you, you need to go make a song or else I don't want to be your homie. Because you got some shit that's up with you, and music is the only thing that has helped me. So that's the only thing that will help yo motherfuckers. Almost needless to say, as soon as I heard that statement, that request, that ultimatum, I had my mind made up. I have no intention of trying your shit. If it's some shit that's up with me, tell me exactly what it is that I'm presenting to you that feels so toxic and so damaging that you can't be my homie unless I do your shit to get rid of my shit. Tell me what I'm doing. He says, I can't even put words to it. Dan says, I can't even articulate. It's like there's an entity following you. And it really gave me chills to hear that. Because now he got me thinking he knows something about me that I don't know. That's the power some people have, to make you think you don't know you when you know damn well who you are. So when Dan told me what he needs from me, I rejected it. I'm like, we can agree to disagree, but I'm not gonna bend over backwards and change my lane that I'm in for you. I'm not going to take a break from writing songs and making music to tap on my forehead and make the trauma go away. Maybe that works for you. I don't see that working for me. And that's no disrespect to you. All my tappers out there, I know it's some people tapping right now because you are just so frustrated at me. Keep tapping. No disrespect. I love everybody. I just don't with your shit for myself. For you, yes. I say all of that to say I was presented with a choice. I can either give in to this person wanting me to try their thing that I don't want to try, or I can stand my ground and be like, hey, I know what's for me. What you're presenting is not that. No, thank you. And I think that was like the first time in my life, really, as a friend, that I had exercised self. No, thank you. That's not for me. That's like not something I think I had ever actually said until this situation, which is something I'm just now actually realizing. Every time I think back on this situation, I can't help but think about the history of colonization and the mass erasure of African spirituality. In that moment, I expressed that I am a practitioner of African American spirituality. Dan said, I see that you practice African spirituality, but in order for me to with you, that's not gonna cut it. You gotta tip tap. And that's not even, that is not his culture. I understand we forge our own cultures by the way we choose to live. I get that, not knocking it, but I have the luxury of being very happy with my own cultural practices that I was born and raised on. I don't need to outsource. But in that moment, it definitely reminded me of colonization. After this moment, I started to take so much pride in actually telling people like, nah, that's not for me. Hey, do you want to do mushrooms? Nah, that's not for me. Oh, do you want to have a 12-person orgy? Nah, fam, that's not for me. So my final thoughts are that if I could have done anything differently in that situation, the only thing would have been that I'm not on that friend of a friend bullshit. I'm glad that I'm able to allow people to be my friends just because they know somebody, but in that moment, I didn't need to do that. There were some signs leading up to that event that made me think that something like this could happen. And what did I do with those red flags? Ignored them. So there's two main takeaways from this one. The first one, which is the underlying one, Don't ignore red flags. If you see them, believe them. And if you believe them, leave them.
I just made that up.
And the second takeaway is that if you're ever presented with a chance to either do you or do somebody else,
Pause.
10 times out of 10, I implore you to just do you. I think that's all that I have for this video. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Go ahead and drop your own story in the comments, or you could make a response video. That would also be pretty cool. No pressure. Thank you all so much for tuning in. This has been yet another amazing, fantastic, and dubious vlog. Is that even I feel like I've never heard that before. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.